afternoon. So good to see three gentlemen in this room. Once again, can we give them a round of applause? Good afternoon. My name is Anita Silwal. I came to this country 4 years ago, not in search for education, not in search for opportunities, just because I got married. So this is the main motto of my life. It's very important how you see yourself, because ultimately it's you who define your life, and it's you who define what you want to be, what you can do, and what you can't. So I was born and raised in Kathmandu, Nepal, a very small country in Southeast Asia, which is more than 8,500 miles from here, which is 10 hours ahead from this place, and we have the calendar, which is 57 years ahead. So it's 2076 back home. Yes. Yes. Yes, it's weird, right? And our, back in Nepal, the new year is on April 16th. So I was fortunate enough, in fact, like all of the South Asians are fortunate enough to celebrate 2 different New Years. I was 8 years old when my dad asked me, hey, I was asked by one of the senior movie director for an audition of the biopic movie. Would you like to do that? I didn't have a second thought on that, and I said, yes, Dad, I'm going to do that. And after a couple of days, I realized that the audition was for the role of a boy. The first thing that came in my mind was, I am a girl. Why my dad even think about sending me to an audition for a role of a boy? I never mentioned anything to my dad for a couple of days, but it was like eating me up. I was not focused in school. So I went back home and asked him, Dad, I can't do this. I'm a girl. What did my friends tell me? Like, you are a girl and doing the role of a boy? At that point, my dad told me, you are an actor, and it's not about your gender. When you immerse yourself in that character, it's not about being a girl or being a boy. It's about portraying that character. By the age of 8, I already had 3 super hit movies in Nepalese film industry. I started acting when I was 4 years young. Honestly, I can't remember anything from my first TV series, honestly. So, when I did this movie, when I went for the audition, there were like 7 boys, and the only girl. It still gives me goosebumps when I recall about that moment. I was selected. I worked so hard to do my best, and this role gave me the first national award as a child actor. National award presented by the Prime Minister of the country. And I was just 9 years old. It was a very glamorous life that I lived when I was young. These 2 pictures are from my movies, and this is when I was the runner-up for Little Lady Nepal. Yeah. So being a runner-up for this competition exposed me to the unseen parts of the country, how the girls live their life. I was not able to work directly on the field because I was a kid star, but I really worked so hard along with the hospitals, like Children's Hospital, to raise funds, especially for girls. The situation back in Southeast Asia especially, it's not very easy. Life is not easy. And I never realized that, and I don't think I will be able to realize that ever, because I have not yet been into the very rural areas of the country or that region of the world. I was fortunate enough to have parents who sent me to English medium school. Generally, girls are not sent to English medium schools. And my mom never went to school. Never ever. My dad was born in a medium high class family. He came to the capital of the country, worked very, very hard, built everything on his own. But he couldn't finish his college. And he always wanted to see his daughters graduated. Being in the limelight since the age of 4, did it impact my education? Yes, it did. Honestly, I didn't have many friends in class. I was like a sort of subject to be bullied. Oh, so you look so different in that screen, and you look so different in the school uniform. You know, like how kids go through. It was really hard, but honestly, I enjoyed those moments. There was a day, I have a younger sister who is 18 months younger than me. One day she told me, Annie, can you stay home today just to play with me? It's been 8 years, I haven't seen her. She's in Australia, she did her bachelor's degree, she's working there. That moment I realized, like, family is important. I was like really very, very young, but I realized that. And to be very honest, I don't think I have ever been able to give her enough time because I was so focused on career. So, there's two pictures. The lady here, she is the current president of my country, a female president. These two pictures, which is a certificate, is really important in my life. The first one was awarded in 1999, and the second one was like 2000. When I did that movie, the biopic movie, the first time I met Prime Minister, it changed the way I view my life. This certificate here, I got an opportunity to meet the political leaders from Southeast Asia in 1999 during the South Asia Federation Games. Not only the political leaders, but the diplomats and government officials from so many different countries. And I was so attracted towards it. I don't want to be actor anymore. I want to work for people, because working for people means you are not expecting something and you are trying to be true and honest. Media is a very different world. It's a very different universe. When you are in a limelight, you have to live two different lives. That's how I view it, because on the set, you are a different person. In your home, you are a different person. And you have to honestly behave differently in both of the places. This certificate was given by another prime minister back in 2000. And I had like an opportunity to meet with both of the prime ministers more than 10 times. So I was so influenced by them. And when you meet the prime minister, you are able to meet with so many other government officials, secretaries, deputy secretaries, and all. The terms are very different here and back home because we are so much heavily British influenced. So I'm talking about Minister of Health. Here we say like Secretary of Health. So Minister is the head of the whole department. When I was in 9th grade, my grades went down. So down that my principal called me and told me, Anita, you are provided with scholarship for 7 years, and look at your grades. What are you gonna do? I was doing one of the very hit TV series at that time. Very, very popular. It took me a month to decide. Then I said, okay, I am out of this movie world because I really need to focus on education. At that time, I didn't ask my parents when I was doing that TV series. I was minor, but I decided to do that TV series, which was more focused on the importance of child education. It was a very informative TV series, but at the same time I realized, what if my grades go down like this? I won't pass high school. The involvement of kids, like the minors in film industry back in Nepal, was very, very low. Like you'd find only a handful of minors or like kids who are in the film industry. It was a very tough decision. I really cried so bad that day that it took me a month to come back as a normal kid, because you decided, okay, I'm gonna like break off the contract with the producers for this hit TV series, and I'm gonna go back to school, work hard on my grades. Was I able to get focused in school? Maybe 50%, but it was a very hard decision. And from that day, I told myself I'm not going back to television or media industry anymore. This is school where I graduated from my high school. In Asia, when you are born as a girl, sometimes it's the society who influence what your future will be. When I turned 13, my mom told me, now you're grown up. You are not a kid anymore. Now you need to ask us each and every those little things you do. You need to tell us where you go, which is good. I welcome their feelings, but at the same time, was my parents' dialogues or decisions influenced on the basis of how society judges you? Yes. I was 12 when I had my first period, and I was incarcerated for 12 days. I asked my mom why. She doesn't have an answer, because it's been done for several years. This picture is back in Bangkok in 2013. I was the youth media champion for International Planned Parenthood Federation for South Asia Regional Organization. When I was incarcerated, those 12 days of my life where I was not able to see my dad or the male members, where I was not able to go to school, not able to read, literally do nothing. Then I decided, I asked my mom, like, are you gonna do the same to my sister? She didn't give me any answer that time, but when my sister had her first period, she did the same thing. I fought so bad that she was out the second day. I was really scared that I was like literally fighting with my mom, but it worked. Then I realized, it's not only me. There are like so many other girls, not only in my country, but in Africa, in other parts of Southeast Asia, who have been in my situation. My dad is an educated man. We were, I won't call it rich, but we were middle-class family. And me being a child star, like living that spotlight life, and my mom treated me like that way. Did I blame my mom at that time? Yes, I did. But the fact was, it was just the culture. You know, like people just follow things and they don't know why they are following. And can you be an iconoclast? Can you defy those traditions? My mom couldn't, but I did. And my uncle's daughter, when she reached that age, I literally fought with him too. It was so hard to explain my aunt about like, hey, it's just the tradition, nothing will happen. Because you know, like when traditions are followed, people just follow it blindly for no reasons. So this picture is very important for me because I advocated for the women health rights. In this role, I was also working back home as a Central Youth Working Committee member for Family Planning Association of Nepal. Some of my accomplishments were we drafted the comprehensive sexuality education action plan for the country. We worked very closely with the Ministry of Health to celebrate the National Family Planning Day, which falls around September. And we reached out to hundreds and thousands of girls and boys around the country. I traveled so many different districts back home just to raise the awareness. When you work, especially in a country which is more heavily male-dominated, it's not easy to be the only female sitting at the table. The first picture here, this is when I worked for Habitat for Humanity. I was back in Sri Lanka. I got a call that the government want to withdraw the agreement that we have done with them for our upcoming event, where we had 428 volunteers from all over the world, 200 from the United States, 89 from Canada, and most of them, rest of the others from New Zealand and Britain. I was the only staff person from Habitat who went to a meeting with the political leaders, the local leaders, to secure the place to build 36 homes for homeless and for people who were living in the slum areas in the urban core of the tourist district. People tried to tell me, hey, you are a woman. You don't, where are your bosses? Where is your supervisor? This is my project and I'm the boss of this project. That's what I literally answered one time, because I was so angry. Are you judging me just because I have a long hair and I wear a dress? It's ridiculous, you know. The second picture there. So these two gentlemen, they were the minister of, like home minister and a finance or economic development minister. These two gentlemen were the board of directors of the government-owned national television. I was invited to this talk show, which was aired from the national television, and one among these four gentlemen told me, "Aren't you too young to be here?" I asked him, "What is your definition of young?" I was in the media industry since I was 4 years old. When I was 20, I had the experience of 16 years. Not only in television industry, not only in the film industry as an actor, but also as an advocate for girls' health rights, but also as an advocate for girls' education, but also as a winner of Miss Teen Nepal. When you are successful, will people like you more? No. No. So, I was one of the board members for President Residence Friendship Committee. He is the president of Nepal. He is the first president of Nepal. We used to have a monarch system, and there was a war when I was a kid, which really didn't affect the capital city of the country, but it really affected the lives of other people. And I was the youngest one here. I believe I was 21 at that time. So, two men there from that committee, they told me, "Why should we have you on the board?" I asked them, "What's the average age of people on your board?" He replied, 46. So do you think this board represents the voice of young people, especially girls like me? What do you want to tell people? What do you want to tell the president being on this board? By the way, my home was just a couple blocks away from the president's residence back home. So I told him, it's not only about being the voice of girls and being the voice of young people. I am the voice of my neighborhood. I'm the voice of my community. It was a long process, back and forth. They selected me as one of the board members. I had quite a couple of opportunities to meet one-on-one with the president of Nepal, trying to discuss on how we should improve the the community. The community where I was, it was like very high-class families used to live there, but slowly, you know, like how we need to encourage the mixed-income families, because when you have high-class people businesses, it's sometimes like people when they want to move in those type of communities, they try to seek a way how to survive in that community. And when you don't have organized neighborhoods, like the way we are trying to do here, we never had this platform to invite people and talk about the issues we had. There was this board led by most of the men and women for sure, but who were not ready to hear what the young people wanted to tell. So I hope I represented them well, I don't know, but I tried to do justice to my job. This picture here was back in 2007 when I won, when I was the runner-up for Miss Teen Nepal competition. Overnight, I was back to media. At the age of 14, I decided to quit the film industry. Being a runner-up for Miss Teen Nepal pageant brought me back. They just didn't tell, okay, says Anita Silwal, runner-up of Miss Teen Nepal. They printed my biography. She is such and such, she is back again. Was I? Maybe not. At some point I realized the overnight success will not survive for a long time. I did a couple of, I was the brand ambassador for a couple of corporate organizations, but that's all. I never went back to like the glam industry. Then I decided one day why I am being so attracted towards the public service, why I just love to hear news and be updated each and every day. Not only national news, but what's happening around the world. Then I realized being a journalist would be the best way. I was doing my chartered accountancy, which is more like CPA here, which is 5 years course. And honestly, my brother, who is 8 years older than me, he told me like, the glam industry is fine, but you need to earn more money. And upon his request, my dad sent me to accounting school to do my chartered accountancy. I loved it. I passed with flying colors my first year. The second year, my sister sent my resume to one of the national news television. Honestly, my sister did that. I was doing good with my education, but that's not what I really wanted to do. So it was a long process, 4-month process, and I was hired as a primetime news anchor for a national news channel. 7th month, up in my 7th month, it wasn't even a year, I was promoted to talk show host. I don't know how. I should have done a very good job at that time, but it was so overwhelming. It was so overwhelming, and at the same time, I was in the middle of this. I won't say old, but matured, experienced people around me. And one day, a group of eight staffs, all men, filed a written dissatisfaction to my news producer, saying, she is younger, why are we promoting her as a talk show host? I cried that night. Again, I'm female, I'm young, and they are unhappy for who I am. I was never told that who filed that complaint, but I know who they were. I never behaved differently with them. I always respected them and always let them know that I never ever knew that they were the ones who filed complaint against me. But that moment I realized, how do I reply to this situation? I worked hard. I worked so hard that I got my own show. I got my own daytime show. And 3 of those men came back and say, hey, can we work together on your show? It wasn't easy. It's not easy the way I've said. It was like super, super hard. I used to cry so bad. I used to go back home and tell my mom, all in my life I didn't have good friends just because I was in media and I'm back again. I'm trying to do good and all these people, instead of supporting me, they are trying to pull off my legs just because I am female. Why can't they stand along with us? We are trying to talk about equality. I was not trying to stay above their head and go ahead. I was just trying to work together. It's not easy. In the United States, when you talk about equality, it breaks my heart. The situation is way far worse than we have imagined. We have three gentlemen in this room. I'm not trying to tell that we can't work. We don't work together. We do, but like when you step out of the boundaries of the country and when you try to look at the real problems in different parts of the world, it's tough. I even had a chance to work with MTV Sri Lanka when I was working for Habitat for Humanity. I did a couple of programs for them. It was a different experience working in different country for different televisions. When I was 22, I decided there should be some better opportunities for me again. I was in the journalism career for 6 years. I was trying to do some volunteer work for some organizations, and I found Habitat for Humanity. I wrote an email to the country director saying, hey, I want to volunteer for your organization. And we had a breakfast meeting, and next week he said me, hey, have you ever thought about leaving your television and coming back and working for us? I was like, I don't know, but let's see. If you're giving me a good opportunity, I won't say no. So my first role in Habitat was, he offered me a job to lead the country campaign for Nepal, Habitat Youth Build. Back in 2014, I couldn't say no. I couldn't say no. And at that time, there was election going on back home. So my producer said, we need 3 months to say goodbye. And back in Habitat, no, the campaign should started next month. So I started working double shift. From 8 to 5, Habitat for Humanity, 6 to 12, 6 to midnight, and it's 24 for television, covering election live and everything. I questioned myself, did I really work that hard? Literally, from 8 in the morning, I need to wake up at 7 at least, and till midnight in the studio, back home at 12:30 or 1. But I did. Was I happy? Absolutely yes. Were my parents happy? Yes, they were super proud. Super proud. There were moments when my neighbors or other people complained about who I was. I was so bold. One of the boys, how boys try to flirt with girls. There was one boy who was trying to do that with my sister, and I literally went back to him and yelled at him. That was me. I was literally so bad. When Habitat hired me, they gave me the position of country lead for Habitat Youth Build. Habitat Youth Build is an Asia Pacific regional campaign, and that was the second year that Nepal was celebrating that. So I laid out my plans. I told them, this is what I want to do. I need such and such number of staffs to do these things. And it was a national campaign. I need to go to all the different parts of the country, work with all the different partners that we had. I was lucky enough because everybody knew me. Wherever I go, oh, last night I saw you at News 8. Yeah, I'm working on both sides. So that was like a blessing for me. Everybody knew me, so I was able to get all those partners on the ground. But the worst part was, there was a man who told me hey, I can't work under you because you are super new in this organization, and I've been working here for 8 years. I had 3 staffs under me, 3 friends under me, colleagues under me, working for this plan, and he quit it. So I just worked double again. It was really hard, you know, like when people say like, hey, you're younger than me, how can I be under your supervision? Especially being a female, and when you can read that insecurity or sense of humiliation on that male's face. I'm just trying to work with you. I want to join hands with you. I don't want to push you back and go ahead. So there was only 2 staffs under me for this project. At that point, I realized I need to change my plans. We still had 2 months for the main campaign day. I tried to talk with my country director, and he said like he really doesn't want to work, and I don't know why. Anyway, the event day, it was 3 months campaign. Under my leadership, we mobilized more than 500,000 youths across the country. And more than 700 homes were built and renovated. Most of them were renovated. We reached out to 1.2 million population via television, radios, and newspaper. And my key strategy for that was I appointed my friends as an ambassador for the program, who were journalists, who were actors, who were comedians. If you are close with Habitat for Humanity organization, you may know this gentleman. He is the CEO of Habitat for Humanity, Jonathan Redford, and he is the Asia Pacific chairperson, Asia Pacific Vice President, Rick. So the next day of our campaign day, Rick flew back to Nepal and had a lunch meeting with me. He told me, we want you to stay longer. I asked him, what are the other projects that I need to work on? And he mentioned Everest Build Third is our upcoming project, and I want you to take a lead on Jimmy Carter Roslyn for a project. That's huge. That's a huge project. I was like, do you believe in me? That was my question. And he was like, yes. Out of 11 countries who did this campaign, Youth Build, our was #1. We gave #1. Because it was so overwhelming when Jonathan and Rick flew back to Nepal and told me, like, we really want you to work with us, and we want you to be our government relations in charge. So during my time at Habitat, I worked very, very closely with the government, the cabinet members, the parliament members, and we worked. We came up to an agreement to work for. Let me translate that. People's Housing Program. Habitat is one of the key players, along with UN Habitat back in Nepal. That program is still running. I speak 3 languages, so English is not my native language. So sometimes I just need to translate things in my head before I speak. This is my life timeline in brief. When I was 4, and this picture is probably like right before I came to America. Being a kid star was a blessing. I'll never say that I never enjoyed that moment. I did. Being a beauty pageant winner, it was good. It was good because you are seen as an advocate for women's rights issues, and I definitely would say I give justice to that crown and that position. Here, like all these people, are all the high-level politicians and people from government. I really enjoyed, and the thing is, like, whenever my interviews were in papers or radios or television, I would say, like, even when I was a journalist, I would say, so what do you want to become? I would always say, I would like to be the first female prime minister of this country. Because I was so influenced by that one event when I was young, when I was a kid. This is where the real work takes place. That was always my kid mind, and I would always say, I'd love to be one of the greatest politician or public servant in my country, and this is what it translates to. This was one of the cover from a magazine. In 2014, like late 2014, December 2014, my life changed. I got married to the man who I was chatting over Skype and Facebook for 3 years, to the man whom I met 10 days before my marriage. Was it forceful? No. My dad always used to ask me, hey, do you have boyfriends? No, Dad. My mom, do you have boyfriends? No, Mom. Why? That was their question, why? Because I never found anyone who would respect me in terms of my career goals. Most of the men want their wives to be housewives, take care of their families and all. And I always was seeking for a man who could help me to grow my dream and walk together with me. My husband is a software developer. He's working for Florida Polytechnic University, been in this country for more than 15 years. I don't know exactly how many years, more than 15 years. We started talking over Skype and Facebook. So my first thought when I talked to him was like, hey, we are not going to get married. I want to be the first prime minister of this country. And he was like, don't worry, you can fulfill that dream anywhere. Like, you don't have to be the prime minister, but you can work for people no matter where you are. That was his first response. That was amazing. Nobody ever in my 22 years of life responded that way. So slowly we started talking to each other, and finally we got married. February 2015, the first day I landed to Tampa International Airport. Was I here with any expectation? No. Was I here with a dream to pursue my education? No. Was I here with an ambition to do something? No. Why was I here? Just for a man that I met 10 days before my marriage. I had no expectation. I have no idea what America was like. I have visited so many different countries, including some rich countries in Asia, Singapore, Hong Kong, and other countries. But did I feel different when I land here? No. Well, I've seen those skyscrapers. I know what city or ocean looks like. But was it easy? No. I never knew how my husband was. In person, when you start living together, it's different. I was such an extrovert. I want to meet people. I want to go to social functions. I want to introduce myself to as much people as I can, because back home, when you walk outside, everybody would say, hi Anita, can we take a selfie? That was my life. So the first week was fine. I was jet lagged because it's 8,500 miles air travel time. My total travel time was 24 and a half hours. Yeah. My bad habit is I can't sleep while I'm on plane. So I did sleep all that hours. Super jet lagged. He was there with me the first and last time so far that he had given me a bouquet of roses. He's an IT guy. He's an IT guy. He's an absolute IT guy. So he is so introvert. What he loves to do, hey, can you come and see what I'm working on? Oh yeah, of course, what are you doing? So this is what the Excel document looks like beyond that screen. I'm like, okay, I have no idea what he was talking about. And I wanted to talk about hey, can we go and work with Habitat or Ronald McDonald House of Charities this weekend? No, honey, I'm taking you to Disney. Okay, or no, we are going for a long drive. So he was a very different kind of person, and I was a different kind of person. Was it hard? Did we fight? Yes. Did I spend some of the night with tears? Yes, we both did. We realized we're not compatible to each other. But it takes time for everything to settle down and understand each other. The first 1.5 years, it was really very, very bad. I really respect him, and I really love him more every day now, because I realize how hard was he trying to helped me understand the culture, the system, and everything back here. When I went for my driving license after I got the learner's permit, I drove the other side. Because we drive the other side of the road back home, right? And they said, whoa, 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 no, that's where the car comes from. Oh my God, you should have seen the expression. I'm like, what should I do now? And the way we spell things here, neighborhood, I'm a neighborhood planner. So the way we spell neighborhood here is Neigsborhood. We used to spell Neigsborhood because that's British. Heavily influenced by British culture, everything British. So America was like totally different. I really enjoyed a couple of months, but the 5th day when I was here, I asked myself what I'm gonna do now. My home back in Nepal, it's 4.5 storied. People would call mansion here, if anybody sees my house there. And I was here in like 1-bedroom apartment. The world seems so small. What am I gonna do in this 1-bedroom apartment without job, without knowing anyone? So one day I went out, I didn't even have a phone at that time. It was my 5th day. So I took a sticky note and a pen. So I went out, I said like, okay, this is the street name. I literally wrote the street names and everything on a paper because I want to make sure I come back home before my husband gets in. And I saw a signboard, American Cancer Society. I went back home, I just Googled about them, and I started volunteering for American Cancer Society from the 9th day when I was here, full-time, for more than 1,200 hours. Did I try to seek mentors within those faces and within those arms who used to hug me? Yes, I did. I really wanted to learn the system here. I really wanted to learn how to live an American life, professionally and personally, both. American Cancer Society, these wonderful ladies here, they taught me a system of work, like how the system works here. They taught me not only professional part of it, they even taught me the personal part of my life, because I was really having a bad time with my relationship during those first 1.5 years. I tried twice to kill myself. Because you're in a place where nobody knows you. And just close your eyes and compare those two lives. I didn't have a single friend. My husband took me to a dinner party one day at his boss' home. I have no idea what they were talking about. All those software, all those C++, Java, .NET, oh my God, I don't want to hear about it. I just want somebody like me, or just someone who can listen to me. Did I found anyone within those 1.5 years? No, I didn't. There was a point in my life when I realized this is enough. The first 1.5 years, it was like those were the terrible days. But slowly, I tried to question myself. Whose fault is this? Whose fault it is where I am right now? No one's. Why I was starting to view my life in such a negative way. I started meditating on myself. Like I just used to close myself and focus all my attention right here. Was I able to do that? No. Right at the moment when I closed my eyes, million thoughts came in. All those beautiful moments back from home. All those love that people would show me, and I was here all alone. I thought like people would forget me back home. Who will remember you when you're out of that business or that industry? After a certain time, I realized I need to keep moving on. I did my GRE, I did my TOEFL, I did everything that I could, and got into graduate program in UF, in urban planning. For a year, I studied there, but unfortunately, my husband got a better job offer at Florida Poly, and we need to move here. We moved here. And I started working for City of Lakeland. This was the group of people from Community Development Department. Did I find mentors on them? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Did I share my personal stuffs with them? To some of them, yes. And sometimes you never know where you find the person that you really want to share all your feelings. You never know who will be able to lend their ears to hear you. Slowly I started working hard. This picture is back from University of South Florida, where I was the speaker for the leadership conference for the students. I started reaching out to people by myself. My husband has a different world, I have a different world. Then I realized if I want to be in the world that I want to be, I need to start reaching out to people by myself. Was it hard? Yes. Did people rejected me? Yes, they did. But did I give up? No. My dad always wanted us to graduate. I have a master's degree in sociology back from Nepal, and I thought it's very important for me to pursue my education further here. I dropped my urban planning school back in UF because we have to move, and I was really paying a lot of money in UF. So I got admitted into Florida Poly with a scholarship. I have to pay a little, but it was good investment. I graduated last May with a degree of science in data analytics. Now I'm working as a neighborhood planner. Do I remember what I studied? No, but I always make sure. But I always make sure when I have a time, I go back and learn new softwares. I go back and look at those notes and try to recall them. Early 2018, I attended one of the workshops back in Lakeland. The workshop was about how to start a nonprofit. Back in 2016, when I was just out of my country, there were people who were like, "Hey, Anita, where are you coming back? Are you coming back to Nepal?" You know, how fans just post you a message. I'm like, I don't know. I never had an answer to that. So back in 2016, I started working with different student organizations in UF and raised fund enough to organize an event back in Nepal. A team of students, undergraduate students, went back to Nepal, and they built a tab, I guess, maybe. And we did a sort of awareness event. It was a huge turnout. We did an awareness, an educational event on girls' health and girls' education. This was the first event that my nonprofit, Welcome Womanhood, did. Right now it's working not only in Nepal, but Kenya and Malawi. We have reached out to 2,000 girls. The programs are specifically designed to give them awareness about their body. When I was very young, when my mom incarcerated me for 12 days, that was the time when I thought I would do this to the girls around the world, and I'm making it happen right now. I haven't forgotten any of those dreams that I dreamt when I was young. I have so many on my list, and I'm gonna do all of them. I may not be able to do 100 out of 100, but I'll do at least 90. So right now we are working in Kenya, Malawi, and Nepal. It's all volunteer-based. I'm very, very lucky enough to have my great team back in Nepal. Those were all of my fans. They said, "Oh yeah, we can work for you for free." How wonderful. The nonprofit workshop that I went to in early 2018, Welcome Womanhood was not registered as a nonprofit back in 2017 when I was doing all this stuff. I never thought I would turn into a nonprofit. After the workshop, I went to the facilitator and asked her, "Hey, I really want to start a nonprofit, but I am an international student. What do I need to do?" That lady told me, "I don't know why all these people from all over the world want to come here and do these things." I was the only one in the room, and she was right in front of my face yelling at me. What I did, I said, "Thank you, ma'am." I turned back, I cried so bad, and walked out. 2018, like, or maybe around like end of 2017, I can't remember the date. Why are you judging me that way? I want to do something good. Is it just because of the color of my hair? Is it just because of the color of my skin? Why? And this picture, May 16, 2019, Girls Inc., Lakeland and Bartow. I was nominated for this award. Never ever in my dream I thought I would get this. If I had like a little hint I would get this, I would do a little bit makeover. More presentable. Honestly. So when they announced my name as a winner, not because I was a journalist, not because I was an actor, and not because I'm doing good in the school, just because I am helping girls around the world. The lady who told me that I can't, or like, she doesn't understand why I want to start a nonprofit was there. So how do you react to those moments when someone judges you on the basis of your birthplace? This is how you respond to them. You do things, you don't talk. When somebody tells you that you are bad and you don't want to take it, it remains with them. Don't take negative comments if somebody tells you, "Oh, really? Am I bad? Thank you." That's it. Just give that huge smile. Smile is very, very important. That was the day when I learned. See, when she told me, like, she don't have a clue of why I want to start this nonprofit, just because I was not born here. Was that terrible? Yes. But did I ever cry or beg? Nope. No. Why should I? We are in 21st century. All the information are available on the internet, right? You just have to spend your time. So people say, "Oh, so you are doing many things. You are a graduate with data analytics, you are doing neighborhood planning, you are doing your nonprofit thing, you are doing all this thing." There was a man who told me about this a couple of months ago. Means like a man who is living here, not my husband, but somebody else. So, do you think you'll be able to continue doing all this? I said, I don't know, but I'll try my best. So, I can't change the world, I know that. I can't do everything, I know that. But I can do what I want to do. And nobody should be able to tell me what I can do and what I can't do. As a part of my nonprofit, I had started a talk series. So I interviewed women, especially, just a talk show, a simple talk show talking about their ups and downs, the struggles in their lives, because that journalist is still within me somewhere. So I'm doing a talk show right now. I'm working full-time for City of Winter Haven. I am working with my nonprofit. I am on a couple boards back home for a couple nonprofits, and I have to give them time via Skype or other means. And I am working as a freelance host for one of the nonprofit. So I'm doing all these things. Is it possible? Yes, it is. It's all about how you manage your times. I'm not trying to say I can do everything and I will do everything. No, I can't. But I know what I want to do, and all the jobs that I do connects people, help me connect with people. So I thought people forgot me back home, right? But they were tracing each and everything that I do. These are the newspaper clips. I interviewed Harley Davidson, if I spelled pronounced his name correctly. He is the winner of Daytona car racing competition. I interviewed Forrest Myers, who is the American sculptor whose art has been sent to me via Apollo, I don't know, Apollo 1, 2, 3, I don't know. And I had a chance to interview a couple of these people because I volunteer as a freelance host for one of the nonprofits. And the newspaper back home, the headline, it says, I'm going to translate this for you. Anita is actively involved with media, even if she's in America. I'm not. This is how media covers your story. I was interviewing someone, they have this clip, they have the news. I interviewed I gave an interview, not an interview really, but a podcast interview to one of my colleagues who is back in New York. They made the news. All those things that I do. You'll be surprised. There are a newspaper which says like, Anita started working as a neighborhood planner. There are news, yes. And when they call me via Messenger or when they email me, I say like, who gave you all this information? It's not me, obviously. I have stopped updating my Facebook page. I don't do that anymore. I'm super active in LinkedIn. Were there challenges while doing all of these things, even at city when I work? Yes, there are. There are a lot of instances. As a neighborhood planner, I try to build relationships with the residents. Is it hard? Yes. Being an Asian young female under 30? Yes. Do you have to hear all those racial discriminations? Yes, I do. I probably say yes, I do. But do I get offended? No. Why should I? If you think me that I am brown in color and I can't do the job, it's your opinion and it doesn't matter. It doesn't hamper the way I perceive or take my plan ahead. It doesn't matter. There were times when I used to break down hearing, oh no, that person said me this. Oh no, she told me I'm Asian. Oh no, she told me, or he told me I'm a female and I can't do this. There were times when I felt down, when I felt low, but it doesn't matter. Some of the major challenges that I have faced along my life was stress, anxiety, and mental breakdown, especially after moving to America. I really can't express those in words, and I really don't want to talk about it because I'll break down. I really don't. I really can't. I have been a subject to victim of bullying when I was in school, in college, and even when I was in university back home. Just because everybody knew me and it was hard to survive. It's hard to be a normal human when everybody knows you. Real life friends. Do I have real life friends? Yes, I do, but I have more fan followers back home, and they are not your real friends, honestly. They love you, I know, but they are not the person with whom you can share the real you. So I have really limited friends in my life. I used to have really limited friends back home, but I don't have that restriction here. But I really want to make friends, the real friends in my life. That was a part of my challenge. Because when you start talking to people, you never know who that people might go and talk about you with others. You know, people seem so nice right in front of your eyes, and once they turn back, they start talking all those craps behind you. I mentioned about the racial discrimination. That's one of the major challenge working here. Am I facing that challenge? Yes. Do you think I can overcome that challenge? Maybe, may not be, but will I step back? No, I won't. No. Choosing a career in America, that was one of the tough part, because when you look at most of the people who travels from Southeast Asia to America, most of the people you find is in the IT field or medical, especially IT. Oh, where are you from? India? Oh yeah. Where are you from? India? Especially in the IT fields. And even including medical field, IT field, those are these top professions where people choose their career, especially after coming to America. I had that opportunity. I do have that option, but I want to work for people. Why? Because that's what I love to do. If I was not hired as a neighborhood planner by Merle Bishop and Eric Labby back in February, late January, probably I would have been working as a Salesforce administrator in one of the IT company. That's what I wanted to do, because that was on my plan, and this position was out of somewhere. Maybe God chose me. That's how I would view it. My husband asked me one day when I shared him an incident of being racially discriminated in one of the neighborhood meetings. He asked me like, hey, do you want to switch back your career in IT? I said no. No, I don't. I do fear sometimes, But I think we can make our neighborhoods, we can make our communities a lot better. And sometimes challenges come across your way, you have to face them. I always had a plan B in my life. Always. Sometimes your excellent idea may not work for some unknown reason, and you need to have something on your back when you fall, because you don't want to hit your head hard on that floor and die, right? And when you rise back, rise as a phoenix. I'm not saying phoenix just because I graduated from Florida Poly. Those 1.5 years of my life after coming to America was bad as hell. I lived a miserable life. Did I come back? Yes, I did. It's not as glamorous as back home, but yes, I am equally determined, I'm equally confident, and I am equally excited and eager to work with people. What I want to do next, right now it's been 6 months plus I'm working with the city as a neighborhood planner. It's not easy to work with people. When you go to each of different neighborhoods, people will talk in so many different ways, and sometimes you just have to listen to them. It takes time to change things. This is not a beauty pageant competition. We can't have overnight success. But what I envision City of Winter Haven neighborhoods in the next 5 years, I think I have a draft plan for that. I want to be in touch with most of you. Let's keep talking. Let's build this network. Let's change our community. I can't do anything alone. I mean, even the city can't do anything alone without the help of the businesses around the city, without the efforts of people like you. Maybe I will achieve something working alone, but if we work together, we can really change the face of the city. And we can be one of the best cities in Florida. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for your time. If there's anything that you want to ask me, I'm open.